WWE Evolution Review. My name is Brandon, one half of the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. As always, let's cheers and talk about this great PLE. I'm going to be honest with you. Great PLE might be a little bit of an understatement. I had said, I thought Monday morning we'd be talking about Evolution. I had high expectations for it, and let me tell you, these women delivered on every match, every aspect, far exceeded my expectations, and my expectations were already high. I do want to go ahead and say thank you to each and every one of you that have made this wrestling weekend fantastic. It's been fun. You guys stopped by all the live streams for SmackDown, for Saturday Night Main Event, for All In, for this great Evolution card. So thank you to each and every one of you. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Stephanie McMahon would actually open up Evolution here, and she would tell everybody to get ready to be inspired. They had Stephanie kind of with Joe Tessitore throughout the night, giving insight, giving thoughts. She even had a interview with the winner of the Battle Royal, which I thought was fantastic. But we started hot. We started with the women's triple threat IC title. And honestly, I would say match of the night, that would probably do a discredit to all the women. All of the matches were fantastic. All of them were great. You should go watch the PLE. And then when you're done watching it, you should watch it again. It was just that good. But we had Bayley versus Lyra versus Becky Lynch. And to start out, Bayley kind of hyped up the crowd, got everybody pretty excited here. She would deliver a sucker punch to Lyra. You'd have some back and forth with Bayley and Becky throughout the match here. Lyra would end up locking in a submission on Becky, and then Bayley would boot Lyra out of the way. Like I said, Bayley and Becky kind of threw Lyra onto the announce table together. They really had Becky and Bayley kind of carrying this match throughout, which I thought was fantastic. Becky ends up countering Lyra. DDT off the table, and she pushes her into the stairs. You end up having a double cross body from Lyra from the top to both competitors here. You have a top rope elbow later on that ends up breaking up the pin on Becky there. You end up getting a double top rope leg drop by Lyra, a manhandle slam. You get a Bayley to belly. You get a Nightwing. You get a rose plant. And while you get a rose plant by Bayley, this would be the final sequence. Becky Lynch does this like sweet flip rollover, ends up cradling kind of a rollover pin to Bayley. 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm going to there are 7 matches, so I'm going to kind of do shortened, abbreviated as best I can. But this match was phenomenal. Like I said, doesn't do it justice. Was just that damn good. But you do have Becky Lynch retaining her women's IC title. And like I said, an opener that was fantastic, really set the tone throughout. You had Lyra and Bayley kind of going against each other. You had that friction there still. You had Becky and Bayley being the veterans, being those women in the ring that have been there for so long. They know each other for so long. Hard-hitting match. Great spots. Great finish. You got everybody looking great. Everybody went ahead and got their finish in. My main thought after this was, yeah, go ahead and give it to me again. Go ahead and give it to me at SummerSlam. I don't care. I don't care that we just saw it at Evolution. I want it again. And then I want it again and again and again. Becky Lynch getting the win here. Becky Lynch is probably the right choice. I did have Bayley winning this, but Becky Lynch is doing some top-notch heel work right now, some of the best work of her career. I'm really loving Becky Lynch's heel work, so just kind of keep giving me that. I don't care what she does next. I don't care who she feuds with next. Like I said, I hope they do decide to run this back one more time, but phenomenal stuff. I mean, just great stuff. Can't say enough great things about this match. Next, we would go into the NXT Women's title match, JC Jane versus Jordynne Grace. And something that a lot of people might have overlooked. I know we had a few people in our chat saying they don't typically watch NXT, and I told them, hey, you probably need to start if that's the case. But you go ahead, and Jordynne Grace would just showcase, hey, I am an animal. I am a monster. She delivers this German suplex, a suicide dive. You got Fatal Influence getting their cheap shots in here and there throughout the match. You got a spine buster by Jordynne Grace, then a folding powerbomb, which I thought was sick. I haven't really seen that before. I mean, I know Jordynne Grace kind of does that before, but it's still a move that every time I see it, I'm like, damn, that's such a cool move. Yeah, I like that a lot. You go ahead and you get a draping neck breaker by JC Jane. So it's like where Randy Orton kind of has them draped over the ropes. Boom, neck breaker. Thought that was cool. You ended up getting a top rope Rana and then a running knee by JC Jane. You have Blake Monroe taking out Fatal Influence, really kind of playing her part. Yes, she did accompany Jordynne Grace to the ring. And then at this point, where the shenanigans would happen. And you know what? I'm here for it. You had Fallon distract the referee. And at this point, you had them kind of fumbling over the NXT Women's title. Both of Fatal Influence members had it at one point. When Blake knocked him out, Blake ends up actually picking it up. Well, JC Jane goes, Irish whips Jordynne Grace into the ropes. Blake Monroe, bang, hits Jordynne Grace in the back with it. And that leads to the 1, 2, 3. That's the match. That's the end. Blake Monroe does turn on Jordynne Grace. And honestly, this was great. She gets in the ring. You might say, oh, it was an accident. No, she had a look on her face. She gets in the ring. She hands the title to Jacy Jayne, and she walks out. So Blake Monroe is really kind of the story there. You have Jacy Jayne retaining, and what I thought was a great choice. I do like the choice of Jacy Jayne retaining here. And you have Jordynne Grace versus Blake Monroe kind of being the feud that comes out of this. Yeah, give that to me by 1,000. Yeah, this was great. Another perfect choice for Evolution. I mean, I can't say enough good things. I'm going to say that again and again and again tonight. Just pick your favorite match. I mean, any of them could be your favorite match. It was just that good tonight. But then at this point, we wouldn't really miss a beat because we would be going right to the Fatal 4-Way Tag title match. Just boom, 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 boom. Yeah, you had the ads penciled in here or there. Nothing too crazy, though, tonight. It would start out. I'm like, who's going to start this match out? You have 4 teams, 2 members in the ring at one time. Well, Kairi Sane says, yeah, I got this. Running drop kick to Roxanne Perez. Kabuki Warriors were really working over some great tag moves to Roxanne tonight. You had Raquel Rodriguez, a double clothesline. She kind of took out the Kabuki Warriors. She knocks off Charlotte Flair. She's showing, hey, I am a monster. I am the powerful one of this group. Thought that was great here. You get Alexa tagging in. She gets the upper hand on Alexa as well. Zarya tags in, who is just the absolute powerhouse of NXT, really. Yeah, Lash Legends up there as well, but she looked phenomenal. You end up having Soul doing a Around the World face buster onto Alexa. One thing was really noticeable tonight. The cheers for Charlotte Flair. A lot of "We Want Charlotte" chants. A lot of pops for Charlotte. People are loving Charlotte. People are loving this team of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. I thought that's really noticeable, really noteworthy. In a time that they've done a great 180 on Charlotte Flair, really, because a lot of people were like, I don't really want to see this. I don't really want to be involved in this. Boom. That's what they do. So great stuff there. You ended up getting a double crossbody to the Judgment Day members. She kind of clears house. And like I said, that's when everything's evident. They were kind of working over a hot tag from Alexa to Charlotte. She did end up getting that. It was just fantastic stuff. At this point, Asuka tags in, German suplexes everybody, and then you kind of fast forward. Like I said, I'm kind of doing some spark notes of these matches. These matches are so good. They are so great that they're going to be kind of hard to summarize everything at the end of the day. They're just that good. Just that great of a PLE. And at this point, Sol Ruka's in the ring, and she gets a soul snatcher on Charlotte Flair, and I think to myself, oh, hell yeah. Give me that. She even has this look on her face like, yeah, I did that. That's awesome. As a Sol Ruka fan, sign me up. I think she's amazing. She's fantastic. Give me more of that, please, and thank you. But it would go ahead, and the match would kind of fast forward a little bit. They go to do Zaruka go to do their tag team finisher on Alexa Bliss. Well, Sol Ruka hits the backbreaker part of it at this point. Charlotte Flair pulls Alexa Bliss out of the way, and Zarya spears Sol Ruka. Boom. And you're thinking to yourself, oh man, not again at this point. You have the Kabuki Warriors, and I believe, I want to say it was who was it? It was the Kabuki Warriors, and it must have been, I don't actually know who the other person was. There were 3 people on the outside of the ropes. It doesn't really matter. Outside of the ring. And at this point, Raquel would go ahead and pick up Alexa Bliss and just powerbomb her over the ropes onto the bodies. I thought to myself, Jesus Christ. You have Roxanne Perez taking out another member there. And then Raquel goes ahead. She looked so strong in this match. She lifts Sol Ruka to the skies. Boom. Tijuana Bomb. 1, 2, 3. Judgment Day does retain the tag titles here. And honestly, I thought this was another right choice tonight. Another great match. It was fun. Everybody looked good. Everybody got their parts in. Just great stuff. You had the teamwork of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss really showing out tonight. Really coming through. You saw that the fans love Charlotte Flair at this point. They're cheering for Charlotte Flair. They want Charlotte Flair. They're excited to see her. They're like, yeah, give me more Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. As for everybody else, Kabuki Warriors got their time to shine. They looked good. Zaruka looked fantastic. They're kind of the next tag team up. They are the future. They kind of highlighted that throughout the match. And then you have the champs who are like, hey, don't really forget about us, right? The story just made sense for Judgment Day to get the win here. It made sense for Raquel and Roxanne to really kind of build that chemistry together and continue to grow, continue to shine. Honestly, everybody looked good in this match. There's not a bad party that comes out of this match. Raquel Rodriguez looks like a powerhouse that she is. They're doing everything right with Raquel, and the tag team of her and Rox, I really kind of like the dynamic of that. And hopefully, from the way that things look, you end up getting Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus the Judgment Day, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez at SummerSlam, that would be a nice, easy way to get them both on the card. A nice way to continue to kind of keep that tag team division going and just really keep that momentum going. I really like what Judgment Day is doing. I really like what Charlotte and Alexa are doing. So just kind of sign me up for that. Next, it would be the match that I was kind of overlooking the most, I'll be honest with you. Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus. And I overlooked it because I thought to myself, well, they've given me no reason to really think that Trish can win the title. But nice to see Trish Stratus in the ring as always. And she proved right away she did not miss a step at all. She ends up dueling slaps. She does a stratosphere to the outside onto Tiffany. You end up getting a Luthez press by Trish. She hits a tornado DDT. She goes ahead and she gets a lot of momentum early on. And Tiffany kind of plays a little bit of like a heelish role, or like obviously Trish is the big face, right? So Tiffany kind of had to adjust a little bit. I like what Tiffany had here. I like the elements of like the little heelish Tiffany. I really enjoy that stuff. She would go ahead, she would hit a suplex onto her knees, onto Trish, which I thought was impressive. She like holds her up and does like a knee breaker basically at this point. You get a swanton by Tiffany. You get a chick kick by Trish. You get the knees up by Trish on the prettiest moonsault ever. You get a Stratisfaction. You get a 1-2. At this point, Trish kind of gets a little bit cocky here. She goes for a moonsault. The knees are up. Tiffany actually hits a chick kick, or a Mick kick, as Mickie James like to call it. She goes ahead, Alabama slam. Then she goes ahead, prettiest moonsault ever, 1, 2, 3. Like I said, Trish really didn't lose a step here in this match. Tiffany does retain. Tiffany looked fantastic. She looked great. I thought to myself, goodness gracious, how does Trish Stratus not age in the ring ever? You could go ahead. She looks better than some of the women on the main roster at some points. And you go ahead and you look at it. I mean, Tiffany Stratton gets the much needed defense here. She has some momentum kind of carrying into SummerSlam at this point. A little bit of the Healy Trish, or excuse me, a little bit of a Healy Tiffany at this point, which, like I said, I kind of like. I would like if they really kind of laid into that a little bit more. The overwhelming, over-the-top babyface, it's tough for some people to kind of get into. So give me a little bit of like the NXT Tiffany Stratton that we saw at times. But another good match. Like I said, this one was probably like the worst one of the night, and I put that in air quotes, but like it was still like a 3.5, 4 match out of 5. I mean, I'd probably say like a 4. The whole PLE knocked the socks off. I mean, just great stuff. Now we would go to the one that I was probably most excited for. Yeah, I was pretty excited for the triple threat, and I was pretty excited for the main event, but this one was the most personal. You have Jade Cargill versus Naomi. No holds bar match with Bianca being the referee. Naomi goes to attack with a briefcase. Jade kind of hits her with a super kick. She drives Naomi into the stairs. Naomi ends up face planting Jade into the stairs. Then all the furniture would start to come out, right? You got a kendo stick hit by Jade, or by Naomi to Jade. You end up getting a spear by Jade. You get a bulldog by Naomi to Jade to kind of on this like set up chair that was set up in the ring at one point. Just a lot of furniture, a lot of like hard hitting stuff in this match. I thought it was great. She ends up pulling a chain out of like a toolbox, and she goes to like choke Jade with it, and she gets a little bit of a chokehold on Jade as they're in the corner, and Naomi's like on the top turnbuckle. She's kind of just choking Jade. Well, Jade's too strong. She ends up flipping Naomi out of that. Jade ends up taking the camera at one point, hits Naomi with it. She gets a pump kick to Naomi when Naomi's got this trash can around her head. I mean, this was just a lot, but at the same time, I thought this was great. At one point, Naomi, I don't even remember where it is in the match, to tell you the truth. Naomi is laying on her back on the outside. Jade has this toolbox that they're kind of getting weapons out of. Jade just throws it at her. Naomi luckily moves, obviously, so she doesn't get absolutely destroyed. But you're like, okay, they're willing to go through just about anything in this match, which is kind of highlighted here. Jade's on the outside in front of the announce table, and there's a TV monitor that's kind of set up, or like a TV, I should say. Well, Naomi runs and drop kicks Jade into that, and the TV just boom, kind of short circuits, as they call it. And smoke kind of goes in the air. I thought that was really cool. She hits a face buster onto Jade onto the chair. And that's when all the stuff would kind of start happening. Jade did end up going through a table at one point as well. After Naomi hit Jade with a chair, went through the Slim Jim table on the outside. Just kind of crazy stuff. I mean, ridiculous. At this point, there is another table set up into the ring. They do climb up onto the turnbuckle. Jade hits a super Jaded to Naomi through the table. 1, 2, 3. Jade Cargill gets your win here over Naomi. Right choice, right call. Hard-hitting match. Thought the match was fun. You do now have Jade Cargill continuing that momentum so she can go ahead and maybe take that title off Tiffany at SummerSlam. Thought this was really great. I thought Bianca would maybe play a little bit more of a role in terms of choosing sides at one point throughout this match, but we didn't get that. Bianca was pretty fair right down the middle. You didn't really get any backlash from Naomi. You didn't really get any backlash from Jade. There was a little bit at the end where Bianca raises Jade's hand, and Bianca kind of looks like, she looks kind of conflicted. Like, she doesn't look happy. She doesn't look sad. She just looks like, okay, well, that's kind of over, right? I mean, she can't be happy for Jade, I guess, but then also be sad for Naomi because of everything that's happened, everything that's kind of transpired. But this stuff was great. Another fun match, a hard-hitting match that went by pretty quick. I know some people might say, hey, I wish it was a little bit longer. I thought this was the perfect amount of time, especially with all the weapons involved. And you had to kind of cut some matches a little bit shorter, obviously, with 7 matches on the card. A Battle Royal, the main event was fantastic. That was great. We'll get to that here in a little bit. So I thought this match was great. I thought it was perfect. I do wish Bianca kind of played a little bit of a side, but we'll get to that later, maybe why she didn't. Now it would be time for the 20-woman Battle Royal, and I was stupid. I thought, hey, it'd be like a Royal Rumble. But then I realized really quickly, yeah, Battle Royal, they're all in the ring. Duh. Good job, Brandon. You end up, I'm not really going to go match by match or like spot by spot or elimination by elimination on this one. You did have a really cool moment where Kalani gets thrown over the top rope. She ends up getting caught by Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame, and she ends up landing on the announce table, and she looks around like, oh, what the hell am I going to do? So she has a Kofi Kingston moment where she kind of walks on her hands, puts her feet under the bottom rope, does like a bend, climbs back up, goes back in. Nia Jax was pretty strong throughout this match, eliminating people. You had Julia get eliminated by Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega, when she came out, had like a new personality. She wasn't all flashy and saying hi to the fans. She just had this like, yeah, I'm all business look about her tonight. Okay, I guess. I don't really want her and Julia to kind of have a match again. I'm kind of over that. Kind of over the whole Zelina Vega thing, but we'll probably end up getting that here on the road to SummerSlam or at SummerSlam. You'd have moments throughout this match where Lola Vice and Nikki Bella are both kind of taunting. They're having fun. You have Maxine do the caterpillar worm. You have Natalya do it as well at some points. I mean, just a lot of fun stuff. But at the end, you have your final 3. You have 1 from Raw, 1 from SmackDown, 1 from NXT. As noted, the winner of this match faces their brand's champion at Clash in Paris. So it would be Lash Legend, it would be Nia Jax, and it would be Stephanie Vaquer. And this thing is how do you kind of get Nia out? Well, Lash Legend showed she's strong as hell too. So she ends up getting Nia over the top rope. Her and Stephanie work together. They end up eliminating Nia Jax. So now it's down to Lash Legend versus Stephanie Vaquer. And you know what happens at that point. Stephanie Vaquer gets the win here. Impressive showing by Lash. But the correct call here was Stephanie Vaquer going ahead to win the Battle Royal. She does face the winner of Io versus Rhea at Clash in Paris. And I thought to myself, yeah, this was great. This was awesome. Yeah, right choice, right call. WWE's really hitting all the right buttons, hitting all the right marks on a spot where they kind of needed to, right? You had a lot of steam kind of taken out of a lot of wrestling fans after Saturday Night Main Event. A lot of people are saying, hey, well, All In did a really good job this weekend. That they did. WWE showed today, like, hey, they're not scared. This was fantastic. This was great. And before anybody in the comments tries to talk about this was better than this was better than this, as wrestling fans, let's just all agree we can enjoy everything. If you don't like something, that's okay. We try to be positive as we possibly can be. A great wrestling weekend all around. And at this point, it would be the main event, Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. And you know the story coming into this. Io has beaten Rhea every single time. Well, they know each other so well. So Rhea's got the power. Io's got the speed. And this match was phenomenal. I mean, this is a 5-star main event to a 5-star PLE. You had a springboard moonsault by Io. It was kind of a slower match at times, but it really picked up towards the end. Rhea kind of worked over Io with some holds and things like that. Suicide dive from Io, missile drop kick from Io. You ended up having a nice back and forth. Io hit a poison Rana. Io goes for the moonsault, but Rhea would reverse. You got a razor's edge and a sit-down powerbomb. And I'm thinking to myself, good God, like I could watch these two all the time. Like I said, a little bit slower in the beginning, but it was still good. It was still great. They really kind of captivated the audience. Well, at this point, Rhea's really close to Jessica Carr, and Io's on the outside. Io does a springboard. Boom. Jessica Carr eats a missile drop kick. Just gets destroyed. You end up getting a riptide from Rhea Ripley. Well, you can count to 100 because there's no official. So she technically does beat Io Sky, has her down for 3 count, but there's no official. They would actually take this fight into the crowd, and Rhea kind of loses her mind. She kind of goes berserk because it is eating at her that she has not beaten Io Sky. And they end up climbing onto some moving boxes, some suitcases like they always do. And at that point, you would get a massive crossbody from Io Sky to Rhea Ripley. And you go ahead, you get their way back into the ring. Io dives through the ropes, back outside the ring, does a power bomb through this like roll through. And at this point, you get Io and Rhea back in. Rhea's down. Io Sky hits an over the moonsault. Ref is there now. 1, 2, kick out. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is fantastic. Well, at this point, they go ahead and they hit a Spanish fly off the top rope. And I'm thinking to myself, Jesus. And at this point, the match has been going on for quite a while. Both competitors are down. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it'd be kind of cool if Naomi came out, wouldn't it? Boom. Right then, right there. Naomi comes out. Thinking to myself, oh my God, are they going to do this? There's no way they're going to do this, are they? Well, they did. Naomi cashes in her Money in the Bank briefcase, ends up hitting, I believe, Io with the briefcase. It's Rhea. She hits Rhea with the briefcase, I believe. She ends up go ahead. She gets a split leg moonsault on Io Sky, and that is 1, 2, 3. You got a new champ. Yeah, that's right. Naomi is your new champ, standing tall at the end of Evolution. As somebody that predicted a Money in the Bank cash-in at Evolution, I did not think it was going to be on the Raw title. I thought to myself, it's got to be on Tiffany Stratton. It's got to be on Trish Stratus. But you're like, well, how does that make any sense? Because you knew Rhea versus Io was going to main event. But I thought to myself, they've got to do something big. They've got to do something fun at Evolution. And this was exactly what you needed. This is exactly what they needed to do and what they called for to do. Naomi's been doing some of the best work of her career. It is crazy that Rhea Ripley has never beaten Io Sky. You can run a triple threat of this at SummerSlam. We have a new era of Naomi being champ, and honestly, it's much needed. You have her go over to that Raw side in that main event scene, and you can sign me up for all of that. Naomi is your new champ. I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more excited for her. This is awesome. This is great. A top tier end to a top tier PLE. I mean, all around the PLE was fantastic, but this is like icing on the cake. This was just phenomenal stuff. And like I said, I kind of blew by a lot of the things, a lot of Spark Notes versions on everything. Well, honestly, that's because it was so damn good. I wanted to enjoy it. I couldn't write down how good this PLE was. Best WWE PLE of the year, and that's not an exaggeration. It was that good. It is time to give these women more of a platform. They've already needed it for quite some time. They showcased that tonight. Give them a show. Give them a weekly show. I don't care. Put them on TV more. Make more time for the women. This show proved it. This show was fantastic. You had top to bottom some new women, some older women that have been around for a while, some veterans. You had just everybody really doing everything they needed. Everybody pushed the right buttons. Everybody looks fantastic. At the end of the day, you're like, damn, WWE is really good at what they do. And while we sometimes think, hey, I could be better than WWE, I could book better, well, this was pretty much a dang perfect show. And with that being said, a new era of Raw starts on Monday night. You have the Naomi era, right, with the Money in the Bank cash-in. Also, you do unfortunately still have Seth Rollins being out with the injury, so what kind of happens with that? We will be doing a live stream watch-along of Raw, so make sure to stop on by at COD WrestlePod. Make sure to go ahead and follow us on all socials, TikTok, Instagram, TikTok Reacts, all that fun stuff. Go ahead and tell somebody, tell a friend, make sure you like the stuff, make sure you subscribe, do all the things because we provide wrestling content everywhere, anywhere, all wrestling content. But with that being said, like I said one more time from the bottom of my heart, thank you to each and every one of you. This wrestling weekend has been fantastic. It's been great. I know Will has really enjoyed it, even though he hasn't been here. I promise you, he's keeping up with it. I know he's a little sad to not be here, but I want to thank each and every one of you for being along and helping me out as we kind of go through the solo streaming until he gets back. And one last time, we will be live for Raw Monday night live stream watch along. We've had some new people in there for Evolution. Would love to add a few more. Would love for everybody to come on back and watch Raw with me. I am Brandon, one half of the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. I'll see you guys for Raw. And one more time, what a hell of a PLE.